Hi, this is Courtney, and this is an update. So the computer told me it had been a while since I posted, and I thought, well, I better do something for the Deliberate Life. So this is an update on the Resourcefulness Challenge and how things are going. I look a little rough this morning. The painters are at my house, and I had to get ready and get out of the house because they wanted us away while they sprayed the house. So anyway, I'm getting ready to go to the gym, and it's really bright and I can't keep my eyes open. So I started thinking about, like, I haven't done an update on the Resourcefulness Challenge lately, and I wanted to kind of update you on where things are. So if you follow this, you know that I made a pact with myself not to, and I'm sorry, I don't have a place to set my camera, so it may be a little jiggly. I made a pact not to buy clothes, shoes, purses, or jewelry or books for 1 year, unless they are used. I did spend 99 cents on a book, but I have sold that book. So the exception is if I sell things to replace things that are used or gently used. So I have sold some books for like $11, and I bought, which covers the cost of what I've spent on one magazine and a book. So it was actually $11. The other thing that I've done is I've been selling some clothes. And so I want to talk a little bit about 5 things I've saved on this month and some ups and downs on the Resourcefulness Challenge. I'm going to move this angle because it's really hard to hold this camera here. So I'm going to get where I have some support. So 5 things I have saved on is I paid off my car. I sold my house and I made some profit on the house. I spent a lot of money keeping the house on the market and doing upgrades, but but that wasn't money that I was feeling at the time that I sold the house. It was money that had already gone. So instead of just paying myself back, I just went ahead and paid off my car. That really changed my perception too of my car. I took my car into the shop. My car's 3 years old and it has a lot of miles because I drive for work. I took my car into the shop and they were trying to convince me to upgrade. They said, well, we can get you another car with the same payment you have now. And I was like, no, you can't, because I paid my car off. And all the little flaws on my car, and as rough as I am, I drive my car around on a farm. I drive for travel. I have 100,000 miles almost on my car in 3 years. My car looked a whole lot better being paid off than it did before I paid it off, and that temptation, oh, well, I could have a brand new car for the same payment. So yeah, the car is paid off. The other thing I've done is we're staining the house. So that's a big expense, but my husband will work, get paid on a job. Basically, my husband and I live on about $48,000 a year. And then we work second jobs, and it's not as hard as it sounds because, what are you going to do? We both love what we do, and we have some goals that we'll work really hard for a couple of years to have more earlier retirement. So, yeah, we're painting the house. My husband worked to earn the money to paint the house. We saved it up, so we'll do that. And there was a $10 rebate on each can of paint, and so I'll be mailing that in. And though I won't be able to get the whole thing because there's a limit, I'll be able to get $160 back on just turning in the rebate. I already mentioned I'm just still not buying clothes. I've really limited. I have probably gotten my clothing down to about a third of what I owned last year, and it's so much easier to get dressed. It's crazy how much easier it is and how many more options you have when you're not going through like 100 different items that you only wear 10 of them. So I am about to go to the thrift store to see if I can find some things because we're going on vacation. I'll talk about that in a minute. So I went into the thrift store. It's not a thrift store, it's a resale shop yesterday. It's kind of a higher end resale shop. I mean, not expensive, but I got a brand new dress, like a summer dress cover up type of deal, and a t-shirt. And I want to say I had a $28 credit and it took $11 of my credit. So I still have a credit there if I want to go get anything. So yeah, not buying any new clothes or anything. I do buy underwear, bras, and socks. And so let me tell you about that. I needed some new bras. It's just like I cannot stand to be miserable with an uncomfortable bra. So I went into the store the other day to get 2 new bras. They were buy one, get one half off. And that's not why I went. I wouldn't have cared at that point. I would have paid $100 for 2 bras. I was so miserable. But it was so tempting to buy. They had so many cute things in there, and it was so tempting to buy some new clothes. I did not do it. I really, really wanted to, but had I not gone into the store, I wouldn't have even thought about it, because that temptation isn't there. Not shopping is a really powerful tool in saving money. I didn't do it. So the other thing is our trip to Yellowstone. Long story short, I worked out a week off in August, and my husband also got to take off, and we've never had a long trip. So I scheduled a trip to Yellowstone. I immediately called when I realized I could get off, and we had some money put back in savings, and I know we could pay cash for the trip. I immediately called, and they sold me on every most expensive thing you could get. Now, I knew what I was doing because I asked about the cancellation policy, and I knew that I would be lucky to get a room at Yellowstone this time of year for 2 months from now, because it books out a year in advance. I booked everything, and then a couple of days later, I spent the whole day working on the trip, and I got it down to half the cost by researching airports to fly into, cost of rental cars, hotels, excursions, and things like that. And I still have some work to do, but I literally got it down by $3,000. So the whole trip, is going to cost us significantly less. And I would say this, it's really common where I live to drive to Florida because it's close, but I got our trip down to where it's probably as cheap as if we go to Florida and drove. So that's pretty dang good. The other thing is our food budget. I've noticed since Miller has moved in with his dad that my food budget, Jim and I can eat on about $100 a week, where I was spending upwards of $1,200 a month with the three of us. We do go out to eat, and this week has been a little crazy. It's just so not worth it now that we live where we do. But I'm down to spending about $600 a month without Miller, and with Miller I still contribute to his food budget. So I've cut the food budget to about maybe $700 a month for everything for Miller too. So that's going really good. So we continue to have a goal of getting out of debt, and all we have left is the house. Thank you. Bye.